Hello, welcome to the Tuesday Night Music Show. We have all kinds of people in here tonight. Yeah, it's three, and sometimes less is more. We've got Eric from New Hampshire.
Aye.
In the tool shed.
Oh yeah.
How are you feeling better, Eric?
I am.
Good.
My wife patted the floors and stuff in case I have another fall. But yeah, I'm doing good.
That's a good. Yeah, put a mattress on the floor. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm doing good tonight. Yes.
Good.
Thanks for asking.
And we have Mr. Boston John here as well.
Hello.
Eric in New Hampshire and John in Boston, Mass. Both got no snow despite the blizzard warnings. So
Yes.
that's
Massive accumulation they called for, and we've got
zero accumulation. Right.
Zero.
So we're gonna party like it's 2023 tonight, and we're going to kick the show off tonight with an edition of Boston John's Record Roundup. What do you think?
Special edition.
Special edition.
It sounds like.
Are we doing singles tonight? Is that what we're doing?
I have an artist, but if you want to do a second round, we always could.
Right.
You know. Anybody want to mention before we kick it off?
Who your artist is?
No.
The
Oh
advertising.
yeah, let's talk about that. We are sponsored by DJ Vin Planner, and you can see all about DJ Vin Planner if you look at the description of this video on YouTube, and you can check out the links to some of our other sponsors as well. Thank you.
Super awesome.
Now, John.
No. I had to bring along a friend.
Oh,
Solo cup. What you doing, Keith?
right.
My friend. Yeah, sadly, in the news, the 6th of the month, we lost Toby Keith, age 62, to stomach cancer. He's been battling for quite some time, but he is an artist, came along in the right swing of country music when things started to get fun again. You had like Alan Jackson's and Shania Twain's, and everyone was bringing the happy back to country for a while.
Right.
His first record was 93, as far as I can track. But as far as the hit machine, he was cranking them out pretty solid there for a while. He had that, How Do You Like Me Now, which is big enough to fill a football stadium. And, of course, Red Solo Cup, which we mentioned. So we're saddened by his loss, but the music he's left behind, as good as I once was. For anyone, we do have some country jocks that watch. So tip the cup to Toby Keith this week. And, click on the move too. Yeah, let's have a party.
Let's have a party.
Should have been a cowboy.
Yeah, I got to pour out a little of the 40 for him here. But, and he was quick to not be afraid to touch topics too. Like he stepped up with American Soldier when it was the times of war, and courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue when we had some situations in 2001. So he was on top of his very, very pop culture, just, megastar. And we're sad to see him go. So that's my pick of the week. If you haven't listened to Toby this week, go crank him up a little bit.
The one I have. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Eric.
That's okay. I had the privilege of seeing him in concert 2 years ago in New Hampshire. Well, this guy puts on a great show. I mean, he's just very active, gets everybody involved. He's up there with his Red Solo Cup. He's got a cup holder on his mic stand. So cool. And he's like, and he'll have somebody come up on the stage and they'll be like, here, take a sip. And they'll take a drink and go, oh, and he's, like, what is that? It's whiskey or whatever he's drinking, or bourbon. I don't know. But he has a blast. He has a blast. And I'm going to miss him. My social media has been blowing up with all this stuff, of course, but.
Red Solo Cup, of course, that was one of the more recent ones that blew up. But the one that I always had really good luck with, and I still play to this day, is I Love This Bar.
Oh, yeah.
That one got a lot of play, and people liked it. And it's kind of weird because it's not really a big song. I don't think it's kind of an understated song, but people really like it. And
it's kind of like the Friends in Low Places vibe, where everyone wants to hear it, no one will dance to it. But
for the Low Places, people will go out and go crazy with it too. But yeah, that was the big one until Red Solo Cup came along, and then that one kind of felt like the common man country guy.
Yeah, it was the perfect dive bar song. I wonder if he sat down intentionally to write it that way, but that's what we got out of it.
Yeah,
so this was quite the take on the locals.
The Angry American song there, courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue.
Yep.
and his manager said, this radio's not going to play this. And of course, it caused a lot of controversy, and it went right to number one, because controversy always makes a number one hit, don't it? You know,
Except Prince's controversy didn't go to number one, I don't think.
yeah, I mean, yeah, God rest his soul. You know, he was a lot of fun.
What do you got for us this week, Eric?
I'm going to go with somebody that American music singer, songwriter, and founding member of the Eagles.
The Eagles.
The Eagles.
Not Eagles, but the Eagles.
All right. Well, throughout his musical career, this guy's role, he was a bassist. And you guys already know who I'm talking about, right?
Well, maybe. There were a couple.
All right. He had Back in Harmony. He was also did the lead vocals for Take It to the Limit. Know who I'm talking about now?
Is that Don Felder? No.
Randy Meisner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But this is not where I'm going. The single I'm going to choose by him, and it was released in 81. Went as high as 19 at the peak, 19 on the charts. But I always liked this song. If you never heard it, play it. I think you guys might like it. Called Hearts on Fire.
I know it.
Randy Meisner.
Okay, is he who Timothy W. Smith replaced? Smith? Who did was his big song was I Can't Tell You Why. He was from Poco. I think he might have replaced Randy in the Eagles. Like right there at the end.
Okay, yeah.
I think that was how that worked, if I recall.
But I remember him from solo stuff. I do remember his name.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Eagles, you're a conglomerate for the Hearts on Fire. I know I've seen that in my '80s crates.
They all hated each other.
I always liked that song. Something about it always like, well, it's a great song. But
makes for great music when there's tension in the band. Just ask Fleetwood Mac.
Right. Yeah.
Get some killer singles.
You're falling in love or falling out of love. You know, those are the times you get the best songs. And then that even goes with band relationships.
So that's my pick.
Right on.
Great pick.
Good pick. I got one this week that is rather topical, I guess. And I got to look here again because I don't recall. I was given a homework assignment tonight to check this movie out. It's on Netflix and it's called Saltburn. Has anyone seen Saltburn here?
I think I know where you're headed with this, though, because I know
where I'm headed.
Suddenly coming back. I'll let you continue.
Apparently, it's a big movie on Netflix right now. It's a relatively new movie on Netflix. I need to watch it as soon as my mother-in-law is done watching her, Telemundo novellas out there. But a song came back. Well, okay, not really. A song showed up. How's that sound? Because it was never here. It was a hit. What did I say? 23 years ago over in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And we never got it here. And now it turns up in this movie. And I guess it's on TikTok. And it's something you should have and play. Someone even had mentioned that this was on a Brian Groom's must playlist. It's really becoming one of those where'd that come from kind of songs. And that is Sophie Ellis Bextor with Murder on the Dance Floor. Have you ever heard that song, Eric?
No, I have not.
We'll play it after the show. John knows it.
I have played it probably when 2010s or whatever in techno sets or whatever. So I had it. I knew it. It wasn't really big here, like you say. It's
right.
We're gonna call this new trend of these songs. It's a stranger thing that this song has just reappeared again.
Yeah, kind of like running up that hill kind of thing. But we got running up that hill. I mean, that was the song that, okay, I remember this one. It wasn't big, but we had it. We never got Sophie Ellis Bextor on any level. She was in some indie band in the 90s that I wasn't familiar with. Then she did vocals on Spiller's Groove Jet, This Ain't Love, which is a really cool song. That's the first time I heard her voice. And I didn't know who she was. You know, they have all those different girls who they would interchange back then on those UK dance hits. They were just a vocalist. Then I heard her like do her own track. Well, that wasn't even her own track. She did a remake of Cher's Take Me Home. That was the first time I'd heard her do a solo track, and that was her first thing on her first album. But it was really good. It was one of those songs, I don't know if you can relate to what I'm saying here. Sometimes you hear a song and you just feel like you're in the right place at the right time when it's new. Like, you know, it's like a song is a moment. It's a place and a moment. That's what that song felt like. It's like if you heard it and you were in London for the first time, it's like, okay, I'm in the right place at the right time and I'm hearing the right thing. It was that kind of song for me. And you didn't feel like you were missing out on anything. You were in a cool place and you're watching something really cool happen. That's how I felt about it anyway. And then Murder on the Dance Floor comes out. And that one, oh yeah, that I liked a lot better. The original song and the video's funny. And I remember the joke in the video was that she couldn't dance. She was very stiff. Like, and people would make fun of her in the press because she was so stiff. So the music video is her in some kind of dance competition with couples, and there's salsa dancers and ballroom dancers and hip hop dancers or whatever. And there's judges, and she keeps sabotaging the other dancers, like throughout the video. Like she'll throw marbles under their feet or put a banana peel down or something to screw them up so she can win the dance competition because she's not really good. It was the whole joke thing with that. But and the next one was, I think, Get Over You was the next single, and then that was the first album. The second album had Mix Up World on it. I was like, whatever. It was like 2003 maybe. But Murder on the Dance Floor is a good song, and if you didn't hear it the first time, check it out this time around. And it's really nice to see a good song that never made it finally make it, or finally just get some recognition over here. And I actually was thinking about her because I was on my YouTube channel last night, and she was on Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, she was on the Tonight Show.
Yeah, and doing shows in America now. Yeah,
yeah. I remember I actually played that song accidentally for the first time, and I didn't hate it because I was looking for Evacuate the Dance Floor.
Oh, yeah.
Murder on the Dance Floor. It was something kind of, I didn't know the name, and one got played instead of the other. I'm like, this ain't it, but this ain't bad.
It's a cool song. It's a really nice song.
You want to hear something funny, though? When you said this, it rang a bell to me, even though I don't know it. And sure enough, I just went into my BDJ history, and I have 3 karaoke versions of this song. And
yeah.
But not only do I have that, Sunday night, someone requested to sing this.
Okay.
And this is how I remembered it. When you said it, I said, God, that sounds... Sure enough, Sunday night, I played this at 11:23 p.m.
Somebody sang it.
Somebody sang it.
That's a testament right there that it's in pop culture.
Right. Yeah.
Had you been sitting on it for 15 plus years in the karaoke files, or was this just on a new release that came in recently? Can you tell when it ended?
Well, it's on Sunfly, and Sunfly hasn't been around my neighborhood in a long time.
Oh, so yeah. It's probably an original. So
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about the video I have of it because I want to play it this weekend, but the video I have I got to see what the audio quality is of the video I have, and I know there's some dialogue in the video as well. It's not just a straight up music video, so I might have to do.
You want to get the video edit, the DJ edit, so that it doesn't have those.
It's not breaks. Terrible. There's just the judges will say like all together now when they're dancing, and do their synchronized thing. So, I mean, that I don't mind so much, but when they stop and they start, having like dialogue amongst each other, that's when you got to do something about it.
Right.
Me, I don't know. Sometimes I like to leave it in, but I might try to find a different version of that for this week because I want to play it. It's a funny video.
Is this our first boomerang of the year? This is just.
I think so.
We're gonna here it is again. So
I think so. I mean, the last big one, like you said, was Running Up That Hill. That was last year.
Yeah.
And then Dreams Fleetwood Mac did a thing where it came back.
Sure. Yeah. Stranger Things pulled a few of them out of the dust. They brought a Metallica song back from nowhere and got some traction. And so it's these popular shows with interesting soundtracks that they're picking and choosing. The music programmers on these shows are pulling some wild cards, and it seems to be paying off because these songs are we're going to hear that on the radio now every half hour for the next 6 months because it's hot.
What sticks. I mean, I remember watching Stranger Things and really hoping, because there was a scene where they were playing Romantics Talking in Your Sleep, driving around the Camaro. I was like, oh, please come back. And it didn't. Nobody cared. But I was really hoping that one would come back.
Mm-hmm.
There was another one. I think it was it's one of those weird superhero shows. Doom Patrol? Is that what it's called? Maybe. Okay. With Brendan Fraser and
okay.
In the first episode, there's a big dance sequence for, I think it's Debbie Gibson, Only in My Dreams. And I was really hoping that song would come back, but it didn't. So
I think
it's hit or miss, you know?
If shows are getting popular and they're getting the viewership and traction, then these songs are going to start just randomly appearing. And there's no rhyme or reason. So we don't know why.
Yeah.
You know, for a show like The Boys or something with the superhero.
Right.
Throws a song in and next thing it's, it's top 10 and here it is again. So.
Well, it's funny. I'd asked the question on Facebook. I'm like, so what happened? Where did this song come back? And a lot of people in the UK were citing things that happened during COVID. Like she had this thing called Sophie in the Kitchen or something. Sophie's Kitchen Disco, where she would do a weekly show and interview people or do something. I don't know. But that wasn't on our radar either. I mean, we weren't paying attention to that.
No, we were all doing stuff to try to keep ourselves from going crazy. So
the UK thought it was cool because it was this artist who was kind of coming back. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess she does a really cool rendition of New Order's is it True Faith or something?
Okay.
I don't know. There's all kinds of neat stuff. Yeah, Brian K's in the chat. He says Natasha Bedingfield's Unwritten is popular again too. It's in some movie. That was a down-tempo.
That one's never left. That's never left for me. That still gets everybody and singing. That's a big sing-along out here.
The one I liked and nobody cared was her brother, Daniel Bedingfield. It's a track called Gotta Get Through This. You ever heard of that one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody, it was like, that's the whole garage thing. That's the beat.
I thought it was female because they pitched up his vocal so much. I'm like, is this a woman?
I never asked the question, but I know it's credited as Daniel Bedingfield, and Natasha came later and had more success than he did. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know if he was just a producer or what. Hell, maybe Natasha's singing on it. I have no idea. I don't know. But
she's an underrated little powerhouse. I got to see her live, and she can belt when she really wants.
Oh, really?
To. Yes.
Nice.
Started like an opera house here in Boston when she came through, probably 2019, before everything locked up. But she's killer on stage, and she's very entertaining.
Nice. Yeah, that one. I don't recall ever playing that one. I mean, I know it like the back of my hand, but I don't recall ever, getting a lot of requests for it or having it something that was like happening. It's kind of a down-tempo number almost. Mm-hmm. But I'm really looking forward to trying Murder on the Dance Floor because I always thought that was a great song anyway, and I never had an excuse to play it until now. It's sitting on this damn thing for 23 years.
It's about time. It's time to shine.
I went shopping with my kid today, and we went to Taco John's and we're eating. And I was talking about this. I said, this Sophie Ellis Bextor song, Murder on the Dance Floor, all of a sudden, America is finally getting the song after 23 years. And she says, yeah, I hate that because, I'm always assuming this stuff always existed in America because I was so little driving around in a Porsche listening to play this crap all the time. I figured everybody was listening to it because we were, we were getting all that stuff and enjoying it. So she, just recalls songs from her childhood that nobody else was hearing around here. It was kind of funny. That's her experience. So she had no idea that it was, oh, wow, we've never heard this song before. So, well, of course I know this song. When I was a baby, I was here listening to this stuff.
It was good she stayed current because, as you say, she was just on the Tonight Show. She went from nowhere for 15 years, and now suddenly she's a A-list.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I was looking at her Wikipedia page. She's had some hits in recent years. She's had some
not here.
ones. Right, but I mean, it's not like she was. And again, she hasn't been gone and then came back. She's never been here, like ever. So there's a lot of stuff like that. There's tons of great stuff like that we never really got. You might get it deep into clubs or something, or the really cool bars, but on the radio or just even as an American release, we didn't get it.
Well,
So
that's it. We don't know what we're missing until someone shows us what wasn't here. And they're like, oh, that's from
Right.
2007. Like, really? You sure?
I was reading about Groovejet, that track that she did, which was, I guess, originally, and Alex was telling us about this. It was originally an instrumental that the Italian producer Spiller put out, and the reason they called it Groovejet is because the first time he ever played it was in the club Groovejet in Miami Beach. That's why he gave it the name. And I don't know, whoever the record people were like, well, it's kind of repetitive. We can just put some vocals on here. So they brought Sophie in and did it. So that was 2000. And it's been the biggest selling 12-inch record in England this century so far.
Oh,
So
got some legs.
yeah. So it's not just some,
No one will ask for it by name here, but
obscure.
if we throw it in, it's going to be a good song. And
Yeah.
now we know the backstory a little bit.
I always liked that track too. I always thought that was a great track.
Well, the upside, when we used to get those UK versions of the Now series,
Yeah.
well, that's what we call music. I'd get all these artists that weren't getting played on the radio over here, and that's how we discovered a lot of that stuff.
Oh man, definitely
wasn't
for me.
accessible.
Between that and listening to Radio 1 online, it's like, what is this?
Yeah.
A lot of it was like, okay, whatever, but wow. Can you hear a hit?
Pretty much. I can tell. It's hard with trance because when I was able to get Radio 1 on around 99, 2000, I would get in on during the Essential Mix.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have like Sasha Digweed, Tiesto,
Right.
and Van Buren. You'd have all those classic names, Judge Jules. I listen to those and you try to sit through like what's going to work for the dance floor because I'm playing clubs and bars that like techno, but not trance necessarily.
Right.
So I got to find something that's got some kind of a vocal hook to make it stick. So that's probably what that Groovejet thing went through. We'd love to play it if it had some words in it.
Right. Well, how about you, Eric? Can you hear a hit?
Yeah, I've been wrong many times. Like this.
Me too.
That I thought should have been hits.
Yeah.
Radio failed me or whatever. I mean, but
I was thinking about that just a second ago, thinking to myself, okay, am I wrong or did the promoters just really screw up on this?
yeah,
Because it walked like a duck and quacked like a duck. Why did this not happen? And you know what? I'm going to blame marketing on that. It wasn't me. It wasn't the song. I didn't get it wrong. They didn't put enough into it.
Right. Well, sometimes to get it released over here, you got to go, it's like a cross-branded label. Like stuff will come out over there on Capitol.
Yeah.
We'll get it over here, re-released on.
Yeah, the U.S. distribution deal, which isn't as much of a thing anymore because of streaming, but it was. Yeah, that was the thing because everything, the sun rose and set with record sales, and CD sales and tape sales. So if there was no U.S. distribution, there was no reason to promote the thing. How about this? Here's a question for you because I got my answer and you've probably heard it before. So I'm aware that I'm repeating myself on this, but this is my biggest miss. Have you ever heard a song and said to yourself, "This song's awful. No one's going to like it." And it's like the biggest song in the world.
oh yeah, I think we've all done that. I mean,
Yeah, a few of those. Yeah. Yeah.
and then
So
some of
these
those
are your
that
misses,
and some of those that I said were awful kind of grew on me after a while.
Right.
Yeah,
And some of them still stink.
it ain't
Yeah.
so bad. But yeah.
I didn't get that whole Silk Sonic thing that Bruno was cooking up after having all those banger dance hits. I'm like, what is he doing? It's like, oh, he wants to show his R&B side too. But give us another banger, Bruno, if you're watching.
Can you think of
any
any?
24 Karat Magic?
Yeah. Can you think of any particular misses where you thought it was terrible, but it turned out that everyone liked it anyway?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you my biggest one.
Yeah, all of 2023's releases.
Well, my biggest miss of all time was when I heard it. I was not only unimpressed but angry because this was back, 89, and I worked for a multi-op, and we had girl, Kristen. She's still a very good friend of mine. She goes by Chris Maryland. That's not her name, but anyway, That's what she goes by for DJing. She was in charge of buying the singles every week. So she'd go out and buy like the top 5 or whatever, and you'd have them. And if she bought a dud, I'd get mad. I'm like, you wasted your money on this, and I don't have Pump Up the Jam. What's going on here? You know, how come I don't have these really good songs, and you're buying this crap? And the one I was most angry about. And I thought, oh, you're just being self-indulgent. You're trying to be cool, but this is stupid. She bought this 45 from the band, the B-52s, called Love Shack. And I thought, what a waste of money. No one's ever going to want to hear this crap. This is terrible. I almost threw it away when I first got it. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, you know, and ever since then, I've had to play it damn near every gig I've ever done.
Almost everyone. Yep. Unless it's on the must do not play.
Right. Unless it's on a do not play list.
I might even volunteer that one if it's not on either list.
But that does not mean it's not requested. No.
I thought it was weird. I thought it was kind of like new wavy prog. I'm like, I don't really know what they're going here for this, but it's just had that, you know, fun party bounce kind of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rock Lobster was kind of the new wave weirdo pogo thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. In '89, what the hell was going on that even kind of sounded like that? Nothing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was like a watered down version of Rock Lobster and completely irrelevant and kind of hippy dippy. And I didn't get it. But everyone else did.
The two ladies, I don't know their names sadly, but their tone when they sing together with that octave split.
Kate Pearson.
Yeah, that's one. It's a very unique sound they have.
Yeah.
And then of course you throw Fred Schneider on the top of it, Schneider, and he's got just that weird delivery, and it's like spoken.
Yeah.
It worked. You just lumped that all together, and they're like, well, let's see if it sticks. Meanwhile,
yeah. Weird
40
delivery.
years later, we're still playing it. So
almost Christopher Walken-ish weird delivery he's got on his vocals.
Yes, really weird spots for his accents. But
I mean, back then I'm like, okay, well, everyone's gonna love Bat Dance, but no one's gonna like this. And of course, nobody wanted to hear Bat Dance. I mean, it was a number 1, but nobody wanted to dance to it. But everybody wanted to dance to Love Shack. So that was my biggest miss. I didn't know if you guys had any just big misses you'd admit to.
No,
I can tell you about my fails. Huh?
It's Raining Men. I didn't think was gonna go anywhere, and no, really. And today it's still requested every function. You know, I still don't really like that song. I just,
yeah. In all fairness, really, I don't think that song grew legs right away. It took time.
Well, not with me. It didn't grow
right away.
At all.
No, I don't mean my personal likes. I mean for people actually wanting to hear it. At first, I thought it was kind of limited to, you know, the very gay disco. But once, you know, it took a couple of years before it became a wedding song, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Before it became a staple, it was Pure Disco 3, the pink CD. If you had the yellow, the green, and the pink, it was one of the last tracks they snuck on there. And I'm like, this isn't really disco era, but it fits. And like you say, if you got gay disco, then that's what you need with Village People and all the other stuff that follows hand in hand.
Brian K in the chat is saying that Paul Schaefer wrote It's Raining Men.
That's interesting. I just read that. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So blame Paul Schaefer.
And the world's most dangerous band. plus the 2 young ladies.
Yeah, he's something else. To this day, it's almost like Where's Waldo with any award show or Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee ceremony. It's like, where's Paul Schaefer? He's there somewhere. He's there, and he's instrumental in something.
Yeah,
you can spot him
at some capacity. He's involved when it's
like Stevie Wonder at NAMM. He's there. You know, it's like the bingo card for any award show that has music in it. Paul Schaefer is there. He's that guy. But no. I don't know. We did
like the weird takeoff songs or stuff that seems like it's too cartoonish to really stick or go anywhere would seem to.
Yeah.
Like the Barbie girl thing or
yeah.
You know, I Want Candy. I'm like, oh, this is so campy and stupid, and it's back and everyone wants to jump up and down to it. I say, well, I guess what people like what they like, and it's just our job to play it.
When I Want Candy came out, I lived in the middle of nowhere in a very footloose kind of town in Oklahoma. So we didn't get a lot of that stuff on the radio, but we got it on cable. So HBO used to have a half-hour program every month called Video Jukebox, where they'd compile music videos and just play them. And I remember the first one they ever played was Go-Go's Our Lips Are Sealed, which is the first time I heard the song. Was on that show. And things like I Want Candy would turn up on there. But of course we didn't hear him on our radio that was, probably ran by somebody who also had a church somewhere. But did that song do radio play? I don't know.
Yeah. Back in the day, we had a station, Hit Radio, Hit 103, before it changed names 6 times, and it was always, flavor of the day, and it was a lot of that top 40 bubblegum that you would hear. But you'd hear new wave stuff too. I mean, you'd hear the Duran Durans and the Depeche Mode, Thompson Twins. You get a little of that sprinkled in, but then they'd still kick you in a Michael Jackson or a Bon Jovi song here or there just to keep it balanced, I guess.
Right on.
A lot of that stuff.
Another one, I'm just thinking about it in the same vein of Bow Wow Wow. It's a song I only heard at the skating rink. I never heard it on the radio. I at the time I later on saw it on like Night Flight or something. But that was Adamant's Goody Two Shoes. They played the hell out of it at the skating rink, but not on the radio. So I don't know if that had a lot of radio play. I have no idea. I have no point of reference to that.
It did here. We got it.
Fair amount. And that's an odd pocket too. British ska with trombones and trumpets. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, and new romantic dress. Yeah.
Yes.
I like Adamant. I like Adam and the Ants. I thought that stuff was good. That was really good. I'm pretty well versed in that. But I dig that sound. I think it's fun. I don't think he ever did anything.
But he came along. He was what, 79, 80? He was like the tail end of classic rock when all those bands were starting to get older and like Eagles we were talking about and the Doobies and that stuff was just kind of all getting lumped into classic rock radio, right? And this fresh new sounding.
The new wave came in, yes.
Yeah,
of all of those artists, and the look was what they called new romantic, which was just a style. It wasn't a music style. It was just a fashion style, where it was kind of a throwback to, the old days of pageantry, or even
dressed like Jack Sparrow, prance around,
right? Or even Duran Duran was considered new romantic. And ABC was a very new, and Spandau Ballet, and all of those artists. The look was new romantic. The people talk about new romantic music, and I don't think I know what that sounds like, because it was just very much a look. It was just new wave.
Flock of Seagulls, right? Flock of Seagulls, maybe.
I don't know. I don't think that was new romantic. I think that was more new wave looking or something. New romantic was. They were, I don't know, like the Romantics were new romantic. They were a rock band before that all came along.
We were still on new wave. Sorry.
Yeah. And they were a rock band, and then when they got on the television, they had to just put on some eyeliner, and now they're that's the big change. Eyeliner, okay, you're in.
Yeah,
welcome to MTV.
Band. Yeah, band from Detroit. That's what Detroit sounded like for rock and roll back then. I don't know. Yeah, 3 people's kind of nice, huh? We can all talk.
We got a little breathing room.
Yeah,
little space.
I haven't talked to Jay in about 3 months. I didn't want to interrupt them.
Yeah.
He can spin a yarn, all right.
I call it monologuing, and he doesn't do segues. He'll go from one thing to the next, and it's like he didn't stop for you to respond to the thing he was talking about. Yeah, it's actually a brain exercise to have a conversation with Jay sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes there's 3 or 4 things you have to go back to for all these points.
Yeah,
like, to your first point, and then on this, then the other thing.
It's almost cue points in the song. You gotta just chop it up and go back to the.
We go back to red, then I'll get to green and yellow. Yeah.
We love Jay. We're just
we're just
nothing we wouldn't say to his face, just so you all know that. No, but it's a cool show tonight, guys.
I love him like a brother.
Yeah,
I love him like a brother, except I wish I was the only kid.
The only child.
Maybe. So we'll put a challenge out to our viewers. If you think of a song that you want to see brought back in one of these TV shows that got overlooked the first time around, put it in the comments down below so we can have something to talk about. We'll make a show out of it.
Wouldn't that be fun?
To predict the next come back.
I want Joe DeLay, shut up, you face, to come back. Okay, that's
Joe
what.
Dolce.
That would be fun. I mean, the guy who I think did a really good job for the most part, well, especially for the first two movies, for like programming old tracks, because that's how they do it now. They used to do brand new songs for a movie, and they have a video, and then the new song would promote the movie, and people would go see the movie because they heard the song and they saw the video. But now they don't do that. They go back and they get old tracks. They don't. I can't think of a movie in recent memory. Well, no, I can actually. I can think of the Barbie movie because that had songs on the soundtrack that were new and promoted the movie. But most of the time, they're looking at old music to come in and do this. But James Gunn for Guardians of the Galaxy, I think, probably did the most impressive job for putting together flashback, forgotten, favorite soundtracks for those films.
Yeah, that was Redbone, Come Get Your Love. It's like he discovered like an old vintage jukebox next to a 70s Cuda in the garage somewhere, and he just took all the 45s out and said, "This is what the time period is." So here we are.
There's a bunch of them. There was The Chain, My Sweet Lord, but the Mr. Blue Sky was a big one from the second film. There were several. Fox on the Run. Yeah. Good stuff. It would be fun to have a job as the music director for one of these films. But I think it'll also be frustrating because I'm sure there are songs you really want that you can't afford. You don't have the budget for.
Yeah. So when you got to pay for them, then it's a little different. It's, well, what can we get? Here's how much we're playing with, and let's spread it out equally and see if we can get some killer ones that people forgot.
You can't have Van Halen, but you can have Warrant. Like, I don't want Warrant. I want Van Halen.
Yeah. So I think there was only one good song in Better Off Dead, and it was that Everybody Wants Some, because that's the budget. We're done. We got no more music, no more money.
Well, okay. What was in Better Off Dead? Managed Boy Muddy Waters was in that. That was a cool song. Dun, dun, and dun, dun. But it couldn't have cost much for the royalties, But yeah, Everybody Wants Some was the big Van Halen song in there.
So we need something strong to go with this singing hamburger here.
Yeah. Wasn't Jay saying that Led Zeppelin, or The Sopranos, David Chase blew tons of money on a Zeppelin tune?
Yeah.
And they only like one Zeppelin tune in the whole show, but they got one. They had to have it. And
like 30 seconds of it. I don't think they played the whole song just for the clip. It was millions.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you don't do licensing. And AC/DC was big like that too. They didn't want to put anything in, but they were such fans of Stephen King. They let him do all the whatever you want for that Maximum Overdrive. Like, oh, sure, you can use all our songs. It's okay.
Well, that was a lot of original music too, wasn't it?
Just
Who Made Who was
Who Made Who was original, and then the two instrumentals, DT and Voice. But everything else either came off of Back in Black or For Those About to Rock. So
right.
So
yeah, that's right. That was in there.
That whole movie was their music. So it was basically a giant music video for them.
Yeah. Yeah, and good for them. That's really cool when you dedicate your whole album to a film project. I mean, who else did that? Prince did it for Batman.
The brilliance, though, you're making somebody pay to come in, sit down for 2 hours to sit in front of a screen and listen to your music for 2 hours. It's like a concert, and you don't have to be there.
Yeah.
I'm like, we like all these songs. Who's this group?
Sure.
Right.
And you get new fans that way. I mean, the whole thing kicked off with Bee Gees with Saturday Night Fever. But that's a double album, and they're not all their songs. A lot of them are.
Right.
Or they wrote them for somebody else, but not all of them. I mean, you've got a lot of other people there. You got Walter Murphy doing a fifth of Beethoven. I think Beethoven wrote that song. It was not very good. And Walter
Johnny
Murphy.
Lee, Looking for Love, right? That was on there.
You're talking about Urban Cowboy.
Oh, am I?
Johnny Lee looking for wasn't that Don Williams?
It might have been. No, that was Johnny Lee. But but anyway,
what did Don Williams do?
That was Urban Cowboy, though. You're right. I'm sorry.
What did Don Williams do? Oh, I Believe in Love. That was Don Williams.
Believe in Love. I Believe in You.
Believe in
Babies. Yeah. Yeah. But John Travolta was there. Barry Gibb was not.
Yes.
To my knowledge. But
that had to be some smart marketing, knowing how much of a stellar rise the Bee Gees are on, and you get this disco movie coming out.
It was a mistake. It was a mistake, dude.
The soundtrack is what still holds up. I mean, that's a lot of
right. But they had no idea. I mean, they wanted to do a limited release of this film. They didn't want to do a broad release of it because they didn't think anybody was going to like it. But it just, I forget how many theaters they were given on the first release. It was not many. It was something stupid like 20, like nationwide. And then every week they kept growing and growing and growing and putting up billboards about it. And before you knew it, it just exploded. It was not out of the gate a banger, but it grew.
No, I don't think I got the soundtrack until almost a year after the movie came out. It was because I had always thought it was 77, but it came later.
No, it was 77. That soundtrack came out.
I might have got it in 78. But
Mom just, got it pretty quick.
Song was all hits. It was a staple in your DJ library growing up because there was so much on four sides that you could play. It's like, Jesus, all this music. Yeah. I'm covered in disco as long as you like the Bee Gees and.
Well, Disco Inferno's on there.
Tramps. Yeah, the long version too.
Yeah, and the sped up version. Because the original version is slow. They've sped that up and chipmunked them to make it sound like that.
To make it
which is a cool move. I mean, it was right. It's the right key. It's the right speed. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it kind of sounds more like a Blackbird song or something when you listen to it. It's more that cadence. But somebody had the foresight to let's go ahead and turn the pitch up and press this. And that's exactly what they did. There's a lot of good stuff. Yvonne Elliman, I Can't Have You. I think Barry wrote that.
I think Barry wrote that, yes.
I think he wrote that. And then, of course, Traveris does their own version of More Than a Woman on there. The alternate version, I guess. And there's all kinds of stuff on there. Doesn't Kool and the Gang turn up there with Open Sesame? Wasn't that Kool and the Gang?
I think that's in there, too.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there.
It was before we were celebrating with Kool and the Gang. That was like our introduction to Kool and the Gang.
Yeah, that was Summer Madness and yeah, Open Sesame.
Jungle Boogie, right? That was
no, that was on Pulp Fiction.
I know, but that's
Kool and the Gang. Yeah, that was back then.
Yeah.
But that wasn't played on mainstream stations. That was played on like strictly R&B, kind of underground stations kind of thing. Yeah. It wasn't like on the top 40 charts.
Now, once Celebration hit and Get Down on it, and then we look to the back catalog, Hollywood Swingin' and all that good stuff. Like, how do we hear this? Like, this is a really good song. How do we not hear this?
Yeah. Almost a different band. I mean, it felt like it to me. Sure felt like it. Yeah. They didn't sound the same. I mean, you listen to Summer Madness and then think of Misled. How is this the same band?
Yeah. Once the vocalist stepped up and became his own thing, then you got Emergency and you got like you say, it's great. And all those ballads, all that they were doing. A lot of good love songs that are Kool in the Gang.
Yeah. No, it was that was a good soundtrack. But yeah, it's that they did original music for him, or relatively new music for him anyway. Yeah, they don't do that a lot anymore. The Bar movie was the exception. Mm-hmm. With Dance the Night Away in my world anyway. That was the big one. Well, you boys had enough for one night?
Oh yeah,
we did pretty awesome. We held the fort down. We kept it going, and hopefully we get some good comments to read about songs people would like to see us resurrect.
Stayed on top.
Antiquity.
Let's come up with a fictitious film and let's do a soundtrack for it with some forgotten classics. What haven't they tapped into? They've done the 60s, Dusty Springfield thing with Son of a Preacher Man. They've done the Jungle Boogie thing. What haven't they tapped into?
We need like a mid-70s movie about roller skating now that Usher brought it back. Like roller derby type, like a action roller derby type movie, and we'll do a soundtrack for that, and we'll come up with all the
I think they would do really well with disco. If you brought disco into a film, I think they do. Of course, they do incredibly well, and they do incredibly well with 80s tracks.
Yeah, like that bounce skate roll thing from, was it James Vaughn or Jim Vaughn or something? That was
roll bounce. Yeah,
roll bounce skate rock roll, whatever that one.
Roll bounce. Yeah, who the hell did that song? I don't remember.
We'll look that up after the show. We'll be sure. So we'll pick them for the artist of the week next record roundup.
We'll have to watch the Sophie Ellis Baxter.
Yeah.
Yes. Couldn't spit that out for some reason. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week, and probably with Jay. So just enjoy this one. This one. This one you could actually hear us have something to say. So we'll see you next time.